Uncle John's City Garden. Written by Burnett G. Ford. Illustrated by Frank Morrison. Everyone called me Lil Sissy. I was the smallest. Brother was much bigger than me. Sister was smaller than brother. Still, she was bigger than me. But our Uncle John, he was a great big man. If we three laid ourselves out on the floor, head to foot, we would be taller than Uncle John. We even tried it. The first summer we worked in Uncle John's garden, we thought it was the biggest garden in the city. When we looked up and up and up, all around us were tall, tall buildings, all brick, all the same. Right in the middle of the projects was the garden. That's what everyone called it. We stood at the top of the little dirt hill and looked down at the garden. There were no plants yet, just fresh raked dirt. We jumped off the hill to the garden below. Each of us got to pick our own packs of seeds. Brother chose corn and lima beans. Sister chose tomatoes and onions. I chose okra. When we told Mother, she laughed. She said we were growing succotash. I was glad. I love succotash. Uncle John had already done the digging and raking. He showed us the rows we were each going to plant. He wrote on some cards and stuck them on sticks along the rows. I had one long row for my okra. Sister had 2 rows for tomatoes and onions. Brother had 3 rows, 2 for corn and 1 for lima beans. Uncle John had lots and lots of rows. Uncle John gave each of us a shovel. My shovel had a short, little bitty handle. Sister's shovel had a handle longer than mine. Brother's shovel was even longer, but not as long as Uncle John's. His was as tall as brother. While Uncle made little holes with his shovel, we used ours to dig little holes in the hills. Then we dropped our seeds into the holes. After we finished planting, Uncle John brought the hose. He helped us gently water our rows. We were tired and thirsty, hot and sweaty, but we felt good. We could hardly wait to see our garden grow. As the weeks passed, Mother took us to work in the garden almost every day. We pulled weeds and picked off bugs and watered. Our plants had grown a little bit bigger. First, just tiny seedlings, not even up to my shins. Then the shoots grew a little more. One day my okra was up to my knees. A while later, my plants would be up to my waist. The okra would someday be almost as tall as me, with beautiful flowers. I thought the okra pods would never appear. More time passed. Then one day, as we were about to leave for the garden, the sky grew dark. The clouds were thick and black. Thunder roared and lightning flashed, and down, down, down the rain poured. The wind began to blow. We couldn't go. What would happen to our garden in this storm? Would my okra ever grow as tall as me? Mother said our plants would come to no harm, but we didn't think so. Boom, boom, crack, bang. How could anything grow? During the night, the storm stopped. Next day, the garden smelled fresh and clean. Everything was all pretty and green, and all of our plants had grown. Some were the same size as Sister. Brother's corn was almost as tall as Uncle John. The tomato plants were as tall as me. One of the tomatoes was so big, I needed 2 hands to hold it. We were so happy we couldn't help but jump up and down and hoot and holler. Uncle John showed us how to pick our crops. He gave us bags to put our vegetables in. Brother had a big one for his corn and lima beans. Sister's bag was not as big as his. My bag was little, like me. We picked a lot of vegetables, but every day when we came back, the garden had grown some more. Summer was almost over. Soon we would have to go back to school. All of our cousins and uncles and aunts came to the garden for a big barbecue. Uncle had spread out tables, a long one for our cousins, a shorter one for the teenagers, and the shortest one for Mother and the other grown-ups. Uncle John cooked chicken and ribs and burgers. He even cooked up some succotash. Best succotash I ever tasted. At the end, we picked and wrapped up vegetables in big brown paper bundles. We had grown so much food, everyone got to take some of our garden home with them. Sister, brother, Uncle John, and I stood at the top of the little hill and watched our garden in the golden sunlight. Uncle John gave us a great big hug. We would come back again next summer, and we hoped summer would come soon. Hey friends, it's me, Miss Olivia. Thank you so much for listening in to Uncle John's City Garden. Please support the author and illustrator of this book by purchasing your very own copy. I hope you enjoyed listening to this story as much as I enjoyed reading it to you. Until next time, my name is Miss Olivia. This is Miss Olivia Reads, and I cannot wait for you to join me for another reading adventure very soon. Bye, friends.